What's good, my lovely peoples? It's your main man, Solace here, the humble servant of the life. Today I want to do this video explaining how to kick any addiction that you may have, whether it be alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, sex, any addiction that a person may have in this life. There's a natural way that addiction can be kicked. But it's a deep thing that we have to grasp, because there's no profit that a man can make in telling you what I'm about to tell you. There's no profit a man can gain. So this is why the natural way of kicking an addiction is lost. Now, the scary part about what I'm about to break down is that everyone has heard of the natural way of kicking an addiction, but it just isn't applied. And it's a deep thing. The reason why this knowledge is lost is because it's been tied to religion. See, religion takes everything from the life and it alters it to control whoever believes in the religion. So this is why the natural way to kick addiction is not applied in today's times. But let me go ahead and break down to y'all what is the natural way to kick any addiction. Now, the natural way to kick any addiction is called fasting. And we've all heard fasting, but it's usually attached to religions. So religious people, they fast. Now, what do they fast for? Basically, to disconnect themselves from the worldly things and desires. Food, any worldly physical thing. So this is what religious people fast for, to rid themselves of worldly desires. Now, what are addictions? Worldly desires. So you have to grasp. Fasting is the way to rid yourself of any addiction that you may have. Now, let's say you're addicted to cigarettes. All you would need to do to get rid of the cigarette addiction is go without eating for, let's say, maybe 2 days. Now, you will feel extremely sick and weak from not eating or drinking anything in that amount of time. But the addiction and your yearning for whatever you're addicted to will be gone, because all you will be thinking about is food and drink. It's a deep, deep thing y'all have to grasp. When a person, ask any person that smokes cigarettes, ask them, yo, when you're starving, can you smoke? I guarantee they'll tell you, hell no, that shit'll make me so sick and dizzy, I can't even think about a cigarette when I'm starving. And it's the same with people who drink. First thing they say, I have to put something on my stomach, because you can't focus on anything if you are not sustained. And this is why the ancients fasted. Because when you fast from food and all worldly things, you have no cares about anything in the world when you're starving and you're about to be sick and die. This is why you have to get close. This is why I say you have to fast from food, because you have to bring yourself to that point where the worldly things truly have no meaning to you. It's a deep thing we have to grasp. I don't care what the addiction is. If you go a certain amount of time without it, you will not yearn for it. Now, your mind may still be on the course of, oh, I gotta have that, but as far as the body pulling for it or desiring it, you won't have it no more. Now, of course, you do have people, let's say a person may go to jail, and they may go a whole week without smoking or drinking or anything because they're in jail. But mentally, they're not fasting. They're just fasting because they have no choice. You have to self-induce the fast with the mentality and the thoughts that you are trying to kick the addiction. You don't want it anymore. You're trying to rid yourself of it. So you have to get your mind in that state. so that when you don't eat and you don't watch TV and interact with the worldly things, because the television will spark whatever your addiction is back up into your mind. So you have to fast from everything if you're trying to kick an addiction. This is why Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights to fast, because worldly addictions, they start to creep up on you. Like, I got to get my mind right. So it's a deep thing. We tend to think when Jesus fasted or whatever, it was whatever spiritual thing. It had nothing to do with the spirit. It had to do with the body. The body was beginning to take over, meaning he was starting to fall into the worldly desires. Men offering them gifts and things, and you start to battle with yourself like, man, I want that. So he basically had to fast. And this is how you rid yourself of those desires where they mean nothing to you. It's easy to get back on track when you're starving. Trust me. It's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Even food is a worldly desire, even though you need it. But you have to grasp, people eat more than what they need because the food becomes a desire. It becomes an addiction. So any physical thing can become an addiction, or overly used or abused to where it brings an affliction to the person that's abusing it. But simple fasting to get rid of it. You figure all you need is 7 days of fasting. Not even 7 days. You figure after 2 days of fasting, you won't have any worldly desires. Then when you eat again, you just have to stay, work your way back in slow. Don't just dive back in, I finished my 7-day fast. Now let me go watch everything I could watch and eat everything I could eat, because then you're going to fall right back into the worldly desires. The thing is to pace yourself back in so that whatever you was addicted to, by the time you finish your 30 days, that'll be completely off the brain and completely out of the body. See, when you smoke a cigarette, the nicotine is still in you, so that's what's making you yearn for it. But the nicotine will pass out if you give it a time, and once it passes out, the body won't yearn for it anymore. It only take about 3-4 days for the addiction part of the nicotine that is within you to get out of you. And you think it may take a little long for your thoughts to get off of thinking about it. But any addiction can be kicked in less than 30 days, naturally, through fasting. But men, they do not have the strength, it seems, today to balance things out. Now, I want to end this video saying my intro as always. Wise men understand that God and devil are not two beings in the life, but they are the duality within all beings within the life, and it is the battle between the physical body and the desires of it, all the worldly things the body desires, and the spirit, which is bound to morality and principle. So this is the balance between all living beings. Your spirit, which is bound to principality and morality, and your body, which desires any physical worldly thing it can get. And this is why fasting will rid any addiction, because the spirit has no use for any physical thing. When you indulge in the physical, you give the body the power to lead. Grasp that. When you don't indulge in physical worldly things, you give the spirit the chance to lead. So you have to grasp. The more worldly things you have, the more the body will be in control over your spirit. This is why it's not good to have an abundance of things. All you need is what you need. Because if you have an abundance, you will get lost into it. And those physical things will basically activate the body. And the body will begin to control. And this is why we are where we are now, where no one truly understands their spirit, and they move as the body, and they desire any physical thing they want, and they're willing to work and do anything for a whole bunch of things they don't need. Men will work overtime to buy sneakers, the new Jordans, and they'll have on new sneakers already. Grasp how deep that is. He'll work himself to death for extras. Why work yourself to death for extra things that you don't actually need? Because we're lost in the physical and you want to show off for the physical. But the spirit is low because you've been neglecting that. Chasing the worldly things, letting the body lead. So it's a simple but deep thing we have to grasp in the life and understand how religion takes from the life to control the religious person. And this is why fasting is not something that's told to people to do to get rid of their addiction. If you have a cigarette addiction, no one tells you fast from food for 2 days and then continue fasting after that for a week or two. Just eating what you need. No one's ever told someone that smokes cigarettes to do that. They tell them to get a nicotine patch and a whole bunch of other stuff that brings profit. Telling a person to fast doesn't bring any profit. Me telling you this, you can do this anytime. Nobody can stop you from doing it. You don't have to purchase anything. So there's no profit in it. And this is why it's placed on religion. And the true knowledge of fasting is just completely lost in religion. Where you like, oh, I just fast because that's what the religions say. To fast during the day. So it's a deep thing. It's your main man, Solace, man. I hope that message was received.